No, there is only one Kaiba boy in existence, and that's the original.
Kaiba boy. English.
And I hear it.
Yes, I have. Until the computer is barely visible. Until the computer is barely visible.
Looks right to me.
Current time. So you know what? Probably better, faster to go this way. Okay. One thing before we go further.
Do you not have 60 hertz? Blooper!
Alright, so one of the achievements doesn't seem like it's selectable. So, hey guys, EndoPlasmite here, and a little bit late to the party with it, but we are here with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Likewise with the Stanley Parable, my intention is to go through to play as many of these endings as possible as I can, while also just kind of having fun with the whole ordeal with it. There's a slight bit of an extra difference this time around, and you might have heard it when we were first getting this set up. Psst, that's your cue.
You know, this might as well just be simply the Endo experience.
Chaos is joining along with us.
Hi, I'm the guy next to his cubicle.
And one thing of note is apparently you can't actually see your mouse on the screen. Whereas the original version used to be able to see your mouse on the computer screens as you would go along.
Watch that, just a setting.
So, I'm going to try to do as many of the endings as I can, as good as I can, but we'll see what happens.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Not 426,
Employee number
427.
427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Why didn't teach him that?
Monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
Sounds like regular office work to me.
Considered it soul-rending.
Sign me up
That
for
makes sense to me.
Every moment
Sign me up for $100 a week.
as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Until he wasn't, and he went on a rampage.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
He died.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Oh,
one
this is the
showed
day
up
that
to give him
COVID happened.
instructions,
Oh,
call a
yeah,
meeting,
that's what this
or
is.
even say,
This is
"Hi."
literally
Never in
COVID
all
experience
his
where he's
years
locked
at
inside the office.
had this happened. This complete isolation.
The COVID
Something
parable.
was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time.
he found
But as he
himself
came to his
in
wits and regained
Twilight
his
Zone.
senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Whoa! Sensitivity.
Just that reaction. Wow!
Can't tell if they made it better or worse, but it seems like it made it a lot better, actually. Let me see something. Whoop.
Got a little too excited there, did ya?
Camera sensitivity 10, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, hold on. Electabuzz, use Thunderbolt. We have no life.
No, we do have a life. It's a very boring life, but it's
All
entertaining
his
nonetheless.
coworkers were gone. What could it mean?
COVID.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The memo is COVID.
It was vacation day.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Who the fuck is closing the doors?
I don't know. Part of me wonders if hey, you and I ever thought of? I wonder if
What?
the narrator for this, since this is pretty much the remastered version to this, I wonder if he had to redo all of his lines again.
It would not surprise me.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I don't believe you.
Except for that guy on the right. He's just a loser.
Point at him! Point at him and laugh! Charts and slides.
Slide
Garbage
to the
day.
left. Slide to the right. Take it back now, y'all.
Synergize core values expenditures.
Slides. Numbers. Please no more charts, I'm begging you. If you notice, it just kept getting faster with the clicks.
Showing interpersonal conflict. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee like yourself, but more inclined towards conflict. How is anybody supposed to read that?
I don't know. Slow up the camera perspective in the recording
Clear
process.
skin.
Less air.
Comatose.
Tips for not getting fired. Don't get fired.
Don't get fired. All right, so we're gonna move on, or
Now, because we have seen all of them. Keep in mind, Chaos and I have... Well, I've played this game in full. Chaos has seen people play this game
Coming
in
to
full.
a staircase, Stanley
but I
walked
forgot a
upstairs
majority
to
of how
his
this game
boss's office.
operates, or not operates. I've forgotten a large chunk of how this game is.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
COVID does that.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
Shantae.
What he could not have known was that the
Shantae.
keypad behind the boss's desk
Genies.
guarded the
Goodbye.
terrible
It's
truth
genies.
that his boss had been
Shantae.
keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number.
2845.
2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct
Oh,
code
this
by
is
sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay, that was not the same as it was before.
Really?
It did not get dark like that. And I would know. I literally played the regular version about 30 minutes ago to try to get some more of the achievements that I had missed.
Ta-da! Just insert a gif of Wally going, ta-da!
I pressed up, not down.
There is no up, only down.
There is no up, only Zool.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him?
Wait,
this
pause it.
question would not go unanswered for long.
I like the thought there that the narrators have made Stanley feel like he's a lot more free now, but he's still being controlled by someone.
Someone's.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
You.
Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Every one of these monitors holds a single episode of Teletubbies.
Every single one of these monitors cuts back to every time that Chaos died to a witch.
Wow! Still not gonna let that go, are ya?
Their true nature revealed.
A
Each
total
bore
of
the number
600
of an
times.
employee in the building. Stanley's
601,
coworkers.
but that guy was
the
fired.
lives of so many
You were fired.
individuals reduced to images on a screen.
How was I fired?
And
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
even work
This is
there.
every time that you've died to a witch.
eternally monitored in this place where freedom
Oh,
meant
that
nothing.
person's fired as well.
Oh, it's a $5.99.
Why is that one
That
all
one's
messed
busted.
up? Why is 234 all messed up? That person's
This
in a
mind
box.
control facility. It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
pirate.
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Was it?
Lizzie,
No. He refused to believe it. He
That one's
couldn't
blank.
accept it.
That one's
His
blank.
own life in someone else's control.
Pirate! Pirate!
Never.
You only,
It was
I literally
unthinkable.
just said that
Wasn't
earlier.
it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working.
Shitting.
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Keep that in mind for later, Chaos.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Had he finally passed from COVID?
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path.
are you able to pause it right now?
Nope.
This was exactly the way.
I thought as soon as you were about to shut the door or walk through the door, it shut immensely, and there's that.
Was happy.
What?
I thought as soon as you were about to step out, the door would have closed. You just see that little bastard from Robots just laughing at the top corner, going, "You actually thought I would let you in, but I'm not."
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply...
Are we though?
That's why.
Are we though, Chaos?
I don't know. Are we?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Not today.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Or get a cup of coffee.
Yes, truly
Cold
a
drinks.
room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend
Want
a
some
few
pee?
moments here in this immaculate, beautifully
want pee.
constructed room.
Purple drink.
Stanley simply stood
Purple
here,
stuff.
drinking it all
Blood.
in.
Blood.
Diet Dr. Kelp.
Diet Dr. Kelp.
Yes, but eager to get back to business.
Yes,
Stanley
but
entered the
eager.
first open door on his left.
I don't think we are.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
It is. It is truly amazing.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Did we now?
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Are
I
you now?
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Is that so?
Texted out.
You've been neglecting Stanley.
Was that so?
Someone you've forgotten about.
Harsh.
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for her.
It's him.
Sandy's a girl?
Stanley, your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life.
But Marcia's
She's
a
been waiting.
guy. With a bunch of cigarettes, apparently.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Hello? What the f-
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. Oh,
The bun in the oven, huh?
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Jump scare.
Gotcha. Oh,
What a
come on.
prick!
Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm
Wow.
trying
Wow.
to understand here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Nope.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Okay then. Yeesh.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
But I'm alive.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Can you no clip out?
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch.
Now he's taking a
he's
shit.
going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Sit
What?
every employee ever.
What's gonna disappear this time?
Don't they been disappearing?
Yeah, this wasn't here before.
Oh. I don't know.
But in his mind, in his mind,
Because
he
I'm
can
pretty
go
sure
on
this wasn't here
fantastic
before.
adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Let's watch the TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
What?
First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
I'm in my own episode of The Twilight Zone. Spend the night with the boys!
So
What?
he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Dinner time.
As he wandered through this fantasy world,
Full
he
of
began to
iron.
fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous
You say that, you
round
remind me of that one
with
Scribbly
monitors
episode.
and mind control.
Mars was trying to
Down
make
another
iron.
was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he
The baby?
called it the Stanley Parable.
Kick
Oh,
the
the-
baby.
Eat your veggies.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head, he
Una!
repeated it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never
Nuna,
end,
don't kick the
that he might
goddamn
always
baby.
feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Nah.
I've always wanted to tell you this.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has
What's
changed.
wrong with that?
The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer. that as long as he remains
Hey,
here,
look, it's the actual
he's slowly
time.
killing
No, it's not the
himself.
actual time, actually.
But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Don't push this button, because that will set off the bomb immediately and we'll all be dead. Now repeat to me what I just said.
Push the button.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here,
Can he not hear me?
to kill himself?
Hello?
How can I
Stanley?
get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Keep in mind, Chaos, that's a layer one.
What?
I suppose I can't.
What
Not
you were
in the way
doing.
I want him to.
Oh.
But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe
Now
this
who's
time
a
you
slave?
see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Please
And I tried
die.
again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Well, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some water. Nothing's probably
Okay.
gonna happen at all, so we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
I'm back.
Hello.
Anything happen?
Nope.
Okay, let's make something happen.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let me in! Let me in!
Well, anyways, as I was saying, Chaos, you remember how I was looking down at the floor?
Yeah.
Not the floor, the chairs.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
So,
damn it.
what do you notice is different specifically with one of these chairs?
One's not a wheelie.
What else?
One's gray and the others are brown?
So, what happens per se if I were to no clip onto it?
Oh.
And per se, maybe hop out of the boundaries?
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be?
White power.
Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in?
See?
Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Ah, then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here
Good
comes
Lord.
the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you
Nothing.
think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place.
Says you.
Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option?
Well, I don't know.
Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one.
Maybe we did.
So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cavalry's here.
So, Chaos, are you sick of this gag?
Now let's continue.
Yeah, I'm not quite sick of this gag either.
Oh, he's actually gone.
Well, you know, sometimes when this plays out, we think that they're gone, but they're really not.
Let's wait.
We'll give it a bit per se for before we proceed onwards. Besides, if there isn't actually anything at this specific point, when I actually do the editing process, I'm going to cut right about.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had
Having
never
fun?
been trained for that. No.
Yeah.
I can hear you
This
typing.
couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself,
I'm chatting with
is to
somebody.
wait. Nothing will hurt me.
chatting with.
Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive.
Someday
Soon,
my
very
prince
soon
will
now,
come.
this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Oh. So, as I was saying,
All of
Chaos,
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
did you get
Stanley
tired of the
decided
gag yet?
to go to the meeting room.
A
Perhaps he was
bit.
simply
As soon as he
misremembered.
stopped talking.
No matter how hard
Let's go ahead and
Stanley
try
looked,
again.
he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature
Commentary?
of video game structure and
I
its
see an A at the-
examination of structural
towards the end of
narrative
that.
tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be?
Yes.
Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in?
Drink the milk.
Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Yes.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you
But
want.
I don't want to.
Like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game.
But I want to.
Just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this
was
as
funny.
measurable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Oh, try me, buddy. I can definitely make this go on forever if I wanted to.
Try me,
There
bitch.
once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked
Gangly.
most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he's in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
See how long we can piss him off.